Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners. Anybody here can get it. You tuned into the realest now. Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners.
Hey team,
Anybody
episode fuck who knows now of Off the Platform. As always, Jackson Hinch, Greg Turrell. How are you, Greg?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Nice to see you.
I see you got your calculator there, ready to convert some pounds and
Well, I was
kilos.
just having a bitch and moan to you guys about I can't convert pounds to kilos, and the wife just dropped me a calculator on the desk here. So we're good to go. We're good to go because we're going to talk about some crazy numbers today.
Yes.
So we also have a second Greg. I believe he's probably the first Greg though in this respect.
Probably the first.
we can give him that.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not.
We have Mr. Greg Panora. How are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
Thank you. Good, thank you. Thanks for coming on. We're obviously just starting out, sort of 20 episodes deep. So to get someone like yourself on, we're pretty stoked.
Oh, thank you.
So for those people who are listening, might be new to the sport, or might not just know of anything outside of like their own little community, I would say Greg's one of like the hardcore OGs of powerlifting. I feel like that's a fair summary.
Yeah, I agree.
How long did you train at Westside for, Greg? 5 years? 4 years?
About 5 years.
About 5 years or so. And
about 5 years.
In that time, your best total was 2630 in pounds.
Yep.
So
1192. I already worked it out before. Yeah, that's some crazy shit, eh? And I think it's actually, Greg, it's funny that we call you OG, yeah, because you're you're younger than me. Because what are you, 40, 41 now, eh?
I'm 40.
40, you're 40, yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry,
I'm 40,
Yeah, I'm not fucking 41. But that's funny that we talk about, and we're only going back to the early 2000s in terms of your career.
2006, 2007.
2006, yeah. But these days, that's a fucking,
right.
that's a lifetime in it with powerlifting.
Right. This sport is, yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it just fucking kicks people around and kicks them out and they die or they just disappear.
Right.
Yeah.
It's harder too than people think it is. Powerlifting is a tough sport. A lot goes into it, a lot of time and effort. And I think a lot of people decide that maybe it's not what they want to do. You know what I mean? It takes so much time, effort, the same thing over and over again. It gets really boring. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of being at the top of your game as well, you've probably only got a few years, if you're
right.
And I think like we had Dan Bell on the other day too, and he's talking about the next step in his life as well. That the next thing that he wants to get stuck into, because he knows his time is limited. He's not going to be at the top. He's in his 30s now. He knows he's not going to be at the top of the boards for much longer. I know or opportunity to stay at the top of the boards anyway. He knows there's other things he's got going on.
Right. That's how it goes.
Yeah, because you were sort of at your peak, Greg, for a couple of years there. Yeah, probably 2006 through to like 2008. Would you say?
Yeah, 2008, 2009. But then I came back raw and was actually stronger in my mid 30s. Hectic.
Yeah. So so you went. I was at 2630, so that 1192. That was multi-ply.
Multi-ply. Yep.
And then when you say raw and you did 950, you did 2,100 pounds, which is
2102. Yep.
Yeah, so that's 955, I think. For
sounds right.
Home. And is that was sleeves, or wraps?
Yep, knee sleeves. Yep.
Just knee sleeves. Damn.
So I was actually supposed to get wraps for the meet. I did all my training in wraps, and I went there, and the person that was supposed to do my wraps was like, I have to do his wraps. I can't do 2 wraps. I'm like, so I had to go with sleeves. So,
oh shit!
And the guy who was wrapping was squatting like 450. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So you squatted 804 in
with
sleeves.
That was with sleeves.
Yeah, that's with sleeves. So like,
I'm sorry, no, that was with wraps. That was with wraps.
The 804 was wraps.
804 was wraps. 771 was not wrapped.
All right, open powerlifting. Just need to correct yourselves there. Open
That's
powerlifting.
okay, though. That's okay. We'll leave it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. We'll say it was in sleeves.
Better.
We'll say it was in sleeves.
Correct that one. So Greg, take us back to the very beginning. Let's because you've had a fascinating life. I've listened to a few of your interviews now, and fucking hell, man, you're mad. You are mad. But let's go back to the beginning. So one of the first stories I read was that even at bloody 16, you were bench pressing 405. That's crazy, eh? So that didn't just happen, eh? I'm assuming you probably started lifting a year or two before that.
I started about 13, so about 3 years. But the thing that I did different was I really worried about my diet. You know what I mean? Where everybody else there was a lot of people lifting weights, but they were sort of eating like, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids do. But my mother was working with a nutritionist. She was a personal trainer, and I don't remember what it was exactly. But she had a pretty good handle on nutrition. And she was like, none of this is doing anything if you're eating cookies all day. And so she taught me how to eat, how to eat for size too. She understood bodybuilding diets. And so I went on a bodybuilding diet. I was sort of like a bodybuilding diet, 6 meals a day, same thing I do now. And I got really big, really quick. My testosterone levels too were through the roof. I was drug free, but being 16 years old, so I mean the combination of the two was like a tsunami. You know what I mean? Like I got really huge, really fast, and really strong. And at that time too, I realized that I had something special. But the funny thing is that I was not the strongest kid in my school because the kid was younger than I was stronger than I was.
Shit. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, he benched like 475 at 14 or something like that.
Whoa.
Shit like that. Yeah, it was insane.
Shit, that even back then that would have been world record fucking status back
absolutely.
Then.
I think he actually had the world record.
He did too. And did he did compete because powerlifting
he was
thing in
competitive.
sports, eh?
Yeah, he was the first person. It was funny because we weren't friends. Like we didn't know each other that well. And I went and watched one of his comps, and I was like, I love this. And that was when I decided I wanted to do it.
Oh,
but I think he benched 800 in a single ply shirt at 198, drug free or something since then.
That's just
crazy. He got crazy numbers like that. Like he's a phenom lifter. I mean, insane.
Yeah. Where is he now? Is he still going or?
Yeah.
He last I heard, he was in the Marines. He's a Marine. I'm assuming he's back now because he's probably close to my age. But yeah, I don't really know. I heard he benched 800 pounds in single ply. And that was the last I heard.
Shit, that's crazy, eh? So you were benching 405. You're obviously strong. What were you squatting and deadlifting back then?
Honestly, I didn't deadlift, but I was squatting around 550. I didn't start deadlifting until I was about 18 or 19.
Okay, so it was just chest and bis, eh? We just doing curls.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. I squatted, I squatted. I honestly don't think I knew what a deadlift was, so that's why I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's the problem lift anyway. Yeah.
I mean, information was not that readily available back then. You had to really research stuff to figure it out.
Yeah, Jesus, back 2000s, eh? Because there was obviously that was really early days internet. But where were you getting your information from? I guess it would have been magazines and.
Yeah, and mostly, honestly, I was concentrating on bodybuilding stuff. I was just good at lifting weights, and obviously maxing out is fun. So once in a while, I did it. I was also when I turned 17 or so, I was at a gym. My mother managed a gym. It had like pink carpets and like all machines and some weights, but I would train over there. And I got a call one day at that gym from a guy who owned a gym the next town over. And he was like, I heard you're really strong, man. Come over to my gym. And I was like, all right. So I went over there. And that's sort of where it all started. Like that gym, it was all powerlifters, had like a dirt floor. This was badass. Oh, that's so cool. I go over there every day after school. I just hang out there for like 5 hours at a time. Just watch people. And it was pretty awesome.
Fuck, so you pretty much had like every powerlifter now in their 20s, 30s, 30s and 40s is probably thinking, man, if I'd started when I was 13,
right.
Imagine where I'd be now. So you had the perfect.
I had the luxury of doing that. Yes.
Powerlifting upgrade. So you were quite keen on becoming a professional powerlifter pretty early on. Eh?
Yeah, I loved it. I didn't know if I wanted to be a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, a strong man. I just love the whole idea of being big and strong. I still do it. Like it still has the same effect on me at 40 years old that it did at 15. It's still I can't get away from it. I'd love to just stop, but I can't.
No, we can't stop. We're never going to stop it, Jackson.
Nah.
Right.
No. I love that old saying though, I wish I'd started when you had.
Right.
it doesn't mean that you'd be where I am or where Greg is. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, people always say that.
That's how people think it works, right?
Yeah. It's like, actually, no, you'd probably be injured and given up lifting by now.
You'd probably be dead.
Out of here.
Right.
Dead.
You would have quit.
Yeah,
for sure.
So the plan was professional bodybuilder, professional powerlifter, but what the old man told you, no, get a job, get an education.
Yeah, he's like, go to school. And he was right, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the education did anything for me. I don't really know. I mean, but I did it. I went to I went to school. I graduated, got a degree, all that. They told me I was actually the worst student that ever graduated from that school. The worst student that came here, the worst one that ever graduated.
Yeah, do you get a certificate for that, or your name on the board?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. So you studied to become a high school teacher, right?
Yep. I did it for a couple of weeks and quit and went to Westside.
A couple weeks in.
2 weeks in, eh? Yeah.
2 weeks. That was it. Bounced.
But I've seen throughout your career you've worked with kids, eh? So there's obviously a drive to help out those, the younger generation as well. Eh? Where does that come
absolutely. From? You're absolutely right. And it's the same thing I'm doing now. I'm trying. My team is predominantly 22 to 25, 26 years old. So it's absolutely same idea. Yep, no doubt.
Interesting. Where does that come from? Sorry, Jackson.
It's fun. I've never actually thought about it. I don't know. Like when I think of myself, I'm not really I'm not that kind of guy by any means, but I guess I kind of am. I don't know. I want to see the sport grow, obviously, but I think we'll do that with without me. I don't know. Yeah, I never thought about it. I guess you're right though.
Yeah. How you said when you were younger, there was that older dude with the gruff voice who was like, "Hey, you're kind of strong. Come train with me." That's now
yes,
you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like most decent powerlifters thing starts with that. I had the same thing with the guys at there was a gym here called Eastside where I first got exposed to powerlifting, and it was the same thing. It was just these guys that were 35 to 45 that all lifted weights, and they're like, "Hey, you're kind of strong. You should come and try this." I feel like that's how a lot of powerlifting journeys start, and we all sort of
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And then we all unwittingly turn into that guy.
Right. Right. Yep, exactly.
I was that guy last night, Jackson. So I'm squatting away, and these two young guys are squatting next to me, and I could they're strong as fuck. And I'm thinking,
hey, hang on, wait, you were squatting?
I was squatting, yeah, madness.
Fuck
madness.
Off, that's a lie.
Yeah,
curls in the squat rack don't count as squats.
They got up to about 400, and I'm just looking at them in the corner of my eye. I'm thinking, yeah, he could probably fix his form on, those knee wraps are bullshit. I thought, no, I got to say something. So I said, boys, we've got to stop. I'm thinking all of a sudden, I'm that guy. I'm that old man in the gym who's coming up to the younger guys and telling them how to do
it. Yeah, I do it all the time too. It's hard not to.
Yeah. You see the potential and you think, yeah, you could be great,
Right.
We're now like Louis Simmons, we're the ones that want to comment, You could be world champion.
Lose your mind. Yep, there's no way around it. Yep.
So at what point? So you're training away, your life's on track, but then Louis Simmons gets a hold of you. What did you just done for Louis to get a hold of you?
So I got a hold of him first. So I was dating this girl, and I was like, after I finished school, I'm moving to Ohio. I'm like, do you want to come? And she was like, yes, I want to go with you. I want to go with you to Ohio, and blah blah. So I called him up and I was like, can I come visit? And he was like, yeah, sure, come visit. And so I went out there for a visit, and he was driving me back, and he was like, when can you move out here? And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I really want to move out here. And I went home, and I told my girlfriend that, and she was like maybe 3 days later, she was like, I don't want to go with you anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I won't go either. I'll stay here. I'll stay here with you. I love you. You're more important than lifting weights, which is crazy to hear me say now. But,
what the hell are you thinking?
But I was like, I'll stay here with you. And so a day or two later, she comes up to me. She goes, I want to break up. And I was like, what? And she's like, I want to break up. So I was like, all right. So I packed my stuff and headed out. And that was that. Called Louis from the road. I was like, I'm coming, moving out here. So that was it.
That was it, eh? And then you're on the road. Yep. So you got to Louis. So did he come pick you up, or what did he do?
No, I actually drove in. I had a car. Well, when I went and visited, yes. When I went and visited, he yes, picked you up. When I moved out there, I drove my car, obviously. But yeah.
So you didn't have a plan other than you were just going to go and train at Westside. Yeah.
I went out there. I had $400. It was like $400 that'll last me 4, 5, 6 months. You know, I had no constant money. And so I went out there. And on the way out there, I stopped at a hotel bar in Pennsylvania. They had a hotel bar. And I was like, you know what? It's a sign. So I stopped off, got a room at the hotel, went to the bar, like $400. And it was like destiny. I walked in, and there was this beautiful girl sitting at the bar. The only person in the bar was this beautiful girl at the bar. And I was like, yes. So I walk over to her, and I sit next to her, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Let me buy her a drink, blah, blah, blah. I was single for the first time in like 3 years, so, you know. And so we started talking, and pretty soon, an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours go by, and we're just sitting there talking. I'm buying her drinks. I spent probably $100 at this point, you know. Keep buying her drinks, buying myself drinks. And all of a sudden, I feel a hand on my shoulder like this. And I turn around, and this huge dude is standing behind me. And he's like, yo, man, thanks for taking care of my girl. I'm like,
oh, fuck.
So I went to bed, woke up hungover, finished the ride to Westside, spent $200.
There was half the money gone.
Yeah. Should have asked for the money back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh. That's crazy. Yeah. So you got
so I hit the road next day.
Yeah.
Good.
So you hit the road the next day. You arrived at in Columbus.
Yep. No plan, nowhere to live.
No idea, no job.
No job, nothing. Just pulled up there, lived in my car for a while. I'm sure you've heard that story. Lived in my car for about a month, maybe a little longer. That was brutal. That was awful. Because what I didn't take into account was, I mean, I'm the kind of person who kind of will adapt to any situation and be okay. I can make my brain kind of do it and be okay with it. So I was like, okay, this won't be that bad. You know, the problem was we finished lifting weights at 11 a.m. From 11 a.m. till 7 a.m. next day, I had nothing to do. So I would sit in my car and lose my mind.
That's crazy. So
every day I was like, I just want to go home. I don't think I had enough gas money to go home. I feel it was a problem. That's why I couldn't go home. I think I probably would have had a choice. That I could have if I could have.
That's crazy.
But
I know you've said in other interviews as well, that you probably you showered maybe 2-3 times a week too.
Yeah. And there's this little truck stop down the street, and they had showers for like $5. I think it was $5. And so you pay $5, you take a shower. And I'd be in there for like 45 minutes. It was like, oh man, it was a rough time. It wasn't a lot of fun. It was plus I couldn't eat, so I was losing weight. My workouts weren't great. I lost like 20 pounds in like that month or something, like some crazy amount of weight like that. And then eventually things started just coming together, and got a job. Got a pretty awesome condo, an apartment first, then a condo, and you know things started working out. So
what's like when I got into powerlifting, it was 2009, 2010, 2011. So we hadn't done any kind of research as well with the gym that we were at, and so everybody was doing like Shaco programs. You know, everyone was doing these boring ass Russian programs, but we were making we were making mad gains. And then the coach came along and said, I want to try this Westside stuff. And so it became like an obsession. You know, there were the t-shirts.
Right.
Everybody was using bands and chains. None of us knew what we were fucking doing, because I think one person had bought the ebook or something like that, or Louis' book, and you know we were just interpreting what we thought was right. You know, we're doing
and that's all you can do. I mean,
box squats. So we were going, this seems pretty cool, but none of us know exactly what we're doing. So even in 2010, there was you know, Westside was this almost like this cult like idea. But for you in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, 10 years previously, what was your knowledge of Westside? And what was it like? What was the attraction?
It was just what you just said, man. It was the you know, it was like persona. It was that idea, you know. And when I started lifting weights originally at like 15, 16, 17, we had a computer at school, so we could go online at school. And so I went in one day and typed in bench press or something like that, and somehow found out Westside Barbell. And I read an article called The Mad Monk of Powerlifting, and I was hooked. That was it from that. It was just like all I wanted to do was be there. You know, obsessed with that place forever. And so eventually down the road, I got the videos, the old VHS videos, and I watched those things until they broke. It was just like I couldn't stop watching those stupid things. They were so like people think a video camera is just funny, but man, those things were I was obsessed. I watched them probably 30,000 times a piece, and it was sort of like a fantasy world for me, almost like that. Like I go in my garage and pretend I was there, and do what they were doing, at least what I thought they were doing. And I built a pretty good setup in my garage. My dad helped me build a rack, a whole platform and stuff, and it worked really well. And band attachments, it was good. And so you're really strong in there. And eventually decided I should be there. So I said, "What the hell?"
What the hell? Yeah. So that's almost like a dream come true, eh? For a powerlifter.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
In the early 2000s. That Westside's the place to be.
We had so much talent.
What was what was the crew like that you trained with there? Who was there when you were there?
Oh man, so obviously Chuck V was there off and on. Chuck V was sort of doing his own thing. Matt Wenning was there. Matt Wenning. Who else? Vlad Alhazov. You remember him? You know him?
Yeah.
Tony Balagoni.
Yeah, Tony Balagoni. He's a monster.
Yeah, Luke Edwards.
Yep, Phil Harrington was there for some of it. He was thrown out all the time, but he come back. Dave Hoff was there when I was there. He trained with us in the morning sometimes, but not often. Tony Ramos. Tim Harold. Remember Tim Harold?
Yep.
He's a monster, like 8 feet tall. He was huge. Zach Cole, another probably forgotten member who was also incredibly strong. Who else was there? John Stafford was there, but not in the morning. I trained in the evening sometimes too. I like to. I want to meet everybody, hang out with everybody, so I would kind of go back and forth sometimes.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Let me think. Chewy, Jeremiah Myers. Remember him?
Oh yeah,
He's a monster.
I don't know.
So there was very much a morning crew and an evening crew. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, was it pretty like them and us almost? Like quite competitive.
I didn't take it seriously, so I didn't really know. I would kind of go back and forth. I had friends in both, so I was like, I don't really care. So, also Luke Edwards, morning guy. My boy Luke Edwards, shout out.
So you were obviously, Matt Dimmel had passed away by then, but his legacy, or his reputation is lingered for a long time afterwards, eh?
Oh my God. So when I first got there, like I started dating this woman at my work, this girl at my work. She was my supervisor at work. We started dating, and so the first time we went out, she's like, "Do you want to go and grab some drinks?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so we went and grabbed drinks, and we walked to this bar, and there's this big, huge dude standing at the door. I'm wearing a Westside Barbell shirt because big pieces ago I had that one with Westside Barbell shirts. So we're wearing a Westside shirt. We walk up to the door, and the bouncer looks at the shirt and straight up walks off. And I'm like, and so the girl I was with had worked at she had bartended at that bar before. So she knew the bar, she knew the guy. And she's like, I don't know what just happened. So we're kind of standing there, and the bartender comes running over, and she's like, hang on, I don't know where he went. Want to get ideas. And so she goes running over, he comes back out, and he's like, are you with Matt Dimmel? I'm like, nah, man, Matt's dead. He's like, what? I'm like, Matt's been dead for like 10 years. He's like, oh shit. He goes, I owe him $500.
He thought you were there to like
hear stories about it. Everyone knew him. Everyone in Columbus knew who he was, Terrified of him. Everyone's terrified of him. It was funny.
So the gym attracted some interesting characters, eh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think was that Louis' goal was to try attract people?
Yeah, I think so. The tough guys in the town and stuff.
Guys, yeah.
And it's sort of like when I got there, we got AJ Roberts too, another unbelievable lifter in the morning. AJ Roberts came over, and that sort of began. We started picking up a lot more college kids, like college age kids, and more normal type people, as opposed to when I first got there. It was basically all giant psychopaths. It was pretty awesome, but it kind of got more watered down. But the talent get better as we went. That makes sense.
Mm. Were you paying memberships, or how was Louis making money out of? No membership.
Not with us. The idea is that you train there, and he can commercialize you. He can use your name in articles. You're basically told, I'm going to use your name whenever I want to. There's nothing you can do about it. Whatever. I don't care. It's like cool.
And you were earning money, eh? You were earning money as a lifter?
Yeah, Louis paid me. Louis paid me for numbers and stuff like that. Yeah, Louis paid a lot of my bills too. He helped me out a lot when I was out there for sure.
Should I? So you were one of the first sort of breeds of outside of Russia anyway, or outside of the they were getting paid professional powerlifters, eh?
Yep. Yeah, right. That's the funny thing about that way. Yeah, I had a job too. I mean, I worked full time too when I was there. It's not like I wasn't working. I tried. Louis didn't want me to work for a while, so I tried not to work. And I was losing my mind, so I went and got a job. He was all pissed off about it, but I'm like, I can't sit at home all day. He's like, you need to learn how to be bored. I'm like, I can't sit at home all day. I'm a 26-year-old man. I can't sit at home all day.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, actually, professional powerlifting was a thing back.
I mean, not really, except for the confines of that gym. And he knew if people like me were putting up numbers, then he could use those numbers for himself, you know. And it was all, it was all for that. And that's cool. Like, I understood it. He makes it very clear on day one that what this relationship is, and I was fine with it. He's like, I'm not your friend. I am not your father. I am not here to help you. I am here to use your name to win, basically. And so that was cool with me. As long as I'm winning, I don't care.
Yeah.
But we became really close along the way too.
That seems like what the whole culture was that as long as you're winning, doesn't matter.
Right. Doesn't matter. Right. Exactly.
Would you say that's almost why it attracted, like you say, the tough guys of the town and the psychopaths, etc.? Because you literally had to survive.
Yep, absolutely. It was the same mentality I went there with too. So yeah, I think absolutely, yes, absolutely. And when powerlifting first started, Louis was able to monopolize basically the whole side of town. Man, people in Ohio are monsters. I mean, way bigger than people I've seen anywhere else. I don't understand it or know why it's happening, but you see guys there, they're just fucking monstrous all the time. Like, being the mall, it's like I would walk by and be like 6'9" and jacked. You're like, what the fuck, I remember I worked at a gym. I personal trained at a gym when I was there too. And so one day I came in and the kid came running over me. He's like, this kid's about to bench 585. I'm like, he can't bench 585. I walked over, the kid bench 585. 23-year-old kid.
Shit.
Yeah. Yep.
And
played pro football for a minute. A fullback for somewhere, I can't remember where, but yeah, he was a huge, strong kid. But you don't see that in normal gyms. I don't know if I'd ever seen him do it before that, to be honest with you. I mean, it's one of the first times I saw someone bench 585. I mean, it's bounced and ugly, but it went up.
It's still. I suppose that's it, isn't it? Did you recruit him to Westside? Did he come over?
I brought him to Westside once.
And
he didn't love it. I did bring him, though. I tried.
Was there any sort of like obviously you say you took that guy once and he basically didn't. Was there any sort of unwritten initiation almost, like you had to?
It's a whole thing, man.
The whole
it's
thing.
All written initiation, they don't want you there, and they make it very clear they don't want you there. You know what I mean? And I was from out of state. I looked different than everybody. I mean, so they didn't love me. They did not love me when I was there. Through most of it, not just when I first got there. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It's a tough place to survive for sure. And when I got there too, most of those guys have been in prison. Understood the game. We're tough dudes. And so I was able to befriend them because I was I was a lot like them. I'm not totally different than that, so it worked out well. But I looked very different. I was a lot younger than most of the guys, and I tan. I would wear Ed Hardy shirts to the gym, and my hair was all gelled up and whatever. And so it pissed people off, but eventually it kind of became my thing, and whatever they were okay with it at the time, breaking world records. But it's a tough place when you first start. They're not real nice.
So you turn up. You're the young kid from out of town.
Mm-hmm.
No, they all know each other, obviously.
Yeah.
And you say it carried on like that for the whole time you were there. Some of them didn't like
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the thing about it is that no one really likes each other. They pretty much hate each other anyway, so it wasn't that weird. You know what I mean? There's always gossiping and everyone's fighting with one another about something. It's it's like high school in there for real. It's there's definitely a lot of that too. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't from there. But I love everybody there. I still do. I still talk to Luke Edwards a couple times a week. Matt Wenning. So definitely made some lifetime friends for sure there.
So Matt Wenning took you under his wing at one stage, did he? Well, he was more of a coach than maybe Louis was, because he could relate.
He absolutely was. Yes.
He had a better way of like talking to the other people than Louis did.
Yes, he was. Matt's gift is that he understands everything, and he can make it very easy to understand too. Like the stuff that he makes very complicated things, very, very not complicated. And so I at that time in life, like I honestly didn't really care about any of the science of it or the principles. I just wanted to win. But he would always explain stuff to me, and it made a lot more sense. And looking at it as I went into coaching years later, as I started caring about that kind of thing, like it all transferred over. And I was so glad he taught me all that stuff, because honestly, Louis wasn't doing a whole lot, at that point as far as like coaching. He spent most of the time, in the other room with the girls, fooling around, which is fine. Like I get it, but. Louis definitely after Matt left played a big role in coaching me too, of course. But yeah, Matt was just easier to talk to, had more time to talk, because he was new there too. So he was the same boat I was.
I know when we were doing, 10, 11 years ago, we were doing Westside, and there was three quarters of us were in gear, we're going equipped, and it made sense. It made sense for us because we were using the bands and chains, and it made sense for us to be using the equipment single ply,
right?
With the conjugate method. But as the years progressed, and more, of us turned to raw, we started to, and I know you've touched on this before, we started to question the value of doing some of these this training style
right,
raw.
Right.
And I know at the time it just instinctively didn't seem to feel like it was a good mix.
It probably isn't. No, like. Westside was really never made to be used for raw lifting. It was. It's always been. And Westside always has been all geared lifters. And bands and chains and things start to work where, at the top of the lift, where when we're in gear is really what you're worried about. Nobody misses a bench press, at the lockout. Usually, nobody misses a squat at lockout. Usually, but will they make you worse? No, those definitely make you strong. And so. I go back and forth on it a lot. I'm kind of using bands more now than I have in a long time. Really, just kind of they do help prevent injury too. That's one actual benefit of them. They do definitely help prevent injury. So there are some benefits for sure. Are they necessary for raw lifting? No. But will they make you worse? No. Will they make you better? Yeah, possibly. I don't know. It's hard to say. But if you're a kid starting out, do you need them? No, you don't need them. Start with weights. Learn how to lift weights first. And the thing about Westside too is that one of the things that I see with Westside is I see all these beginners using Westside methods, and it's like, you don't know how to lift weights yet. There's no beginners of Westside barbell. Like Louis never coached a beginning lifter. Louis coaches the best of the best. So there's that. It's just I don't think it's enough volume for a beginner lifter. You need to learn how to lift weights first.
Yeah,
basically.
I know when we did start Westside, it was a breath of fresh air after doing Shaco for 3-4 hours at a time.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was like, oh, thank God we're doing something a little bit more exciting than doing more squats and then more squats.
Westside is fun. I mean, it's fun and exciting. If you're looking for a fun, training method, that's it right there.
Yeah,
there's nothing more fun than Westside.
What do you tell your lifters now that come into the gym? You're teaching them absolute basics, but in terms of programming style with your own coaching, where do you fall? What's your thing?
Basic sub max volume, 5 training blocks, 5-week training blocks, very simple. It's just really simple training and it works, it's nothing special about it at all. It's just, it's what worked for me when I went raw, it's the same thing that I've seen work for everybody and it works every time. I've never not had it work, I had a kid today squat 955, 24-year-old kid squat 955. Yeah. My first kid I started coaching. Yep, I created my online team for him, basically. So I met him in a comp, and he was like, "Are you coaching anybody?" I was like, "I am now." So actually, I started the online thing that day. And so we've been working together. He's my first guy for about 4 years now, so it's pretty awesome.
Damn. I saw that on Instagram. You said he has a 600-pound bench as well.
Yep. 600 pounds like this. He's going to come bench in my gym on Wednesday. I'll put the bench up. It's going to be sick. He's so strong.
That's huge, man. I mean, would you it takes, obviously not everyone can do that.
Right. Yes.
So he obviously has the genetics for it, etc. And just you basically
he's
just
a
point him in the right direction, and
exactly.
he's gone off like a fucking cannon.
He's the only person on the team I will trust to tell me what he's gonna do and do it. You know.
Yeah.
He the thing about him that makes him different, he's not just a physical freak. He has one of the best approaches to the sport I've ever seen. If you watch him prepping for a lift at a meet, he's so calm and collected. He puts on his headphones and he just sits there. He just waits. And when he gets out there, you can tell in his eyes, it's on. You know, he is not scared. And he has beat some strong guys up here too. We get some strong lifters up here in this part of the country, and he's destroyed them all. I mean, nobody's close. It's pretty awesome. I'm glad I coach him. He's a good friend too.
I'm glad people are like that. I see a lot of people in the warm-up room, and I used to be the same too. I was just chill, relaxed, and friendly, having a chat. Yeah. And then you get the people that are pacing around. They want to get slapped, nervous. They want to get slapped in the face 10 times. Right. You know, you see videos of Chuck pacing up and down, or Dave Hoff, you know, coming up and pushing people around, and they're just flying across. You know, I guess everyone's got their style, but you know, what do you, Jackson? You're pretty intense behind the scenes.
I mean, when I'm on the platform, it's on. You know, that's game on.
You don't jump off, you don't push the spotters around, and you know.
No, man, fuck that, they'll push me back. I've got to counter the crusade pass. Yeah. I'm gonna keep on their good side.
Headbutting the refs. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I prefer that as well. Like, you have to be able to control that. That's a skill in itself.
It's very important.
Otherwise,
especially at a meet where it's coming up and going down, and coming up and going down. You have to do that. It's a big thing. You have to be able to do that. You don't learn how to do that in your first comp. It takes time. I mean, it's going to take 5 years or so to learn how to do that. And also, what is going to work for you to get ready for the weights? You know, that takes time to process.
Do you see that as like you say, you're not going to learn that in your first comp. Do you see that as a mistake that a lot of beginners make? Is that they're amped up and nervous all the time?
They're trying to amp themselves up for the entire meet. Then by deadlifts are done. You know, you can't keep that kind of focus and intensity up for a long period of time. You'll die. You know, you'll go out of your mind. You know, so for me, what I do is after I finish the lift, I try to find something to do for a short time. Go get something to eat, you know, go talk to somebody, just something to chill out, clear my mind for a few minutes. And then when I hear my name, that's when it all starts.
And you're back on. Sorry, Greg, you go.
No, you go. I was just going to talk about
I was going to say, so that arousal level, like, in between. So obviously back in the day when you were at Westside, like, you probably lift a lot differently now than you did back then.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
So what's like back then? I mean, like, I've seen the videos where, like, there's that classic video that came out. It was sort of like Westside almost went away a wee bit and people sort of forgot about it. And then Dave Hoff came out, and I can't remember what he totaled. It was maybe the 3100.
Yeah.
And then he comes off that final deadlift and he's stoked. And then he just picks up Louis and, like, chucks him through that banner.
That was awesome.
And it was awesome. It's an awesome video. And, like, I was like, that's the shit. That's powerlifting.
Yeah.
But like, you had all these people who had just started powerlifting in the last, like, couple of years, and they're like, I'm like, they have no idea who Louis is. Like, oh my God, is that old guy okay? Like, I can't believe people do that. But, like, so did you lift like that back in the day when you were younger?
No, I was always, I keep it all inside of me. It's like, you know, when I look at somebody, I can always tell somebody's ready or not ready by their eyes. You know, so if you watch my eyes, you know I'm ready. You know I'm ready to kill this. But I'm not a yeller. I don't make noise. I keep it inside of me and let it out during the lift. You know, I have a lot of quiet intensity, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people almost, like, tire themselves out before the lift. You know, by, like.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
You got a phone call.
I feel like a lot of people, like, overdo it, if you know what I mean, and they sort of tire themselves out beforehand, and then they lift and they've got no gas, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, just come out and do the lift. I prefer somebody approach calmly, you know, and not yelling and screaming. But again, each your own, you know. Find out what works for you. It's gonna take time, but, you know, put the time in.
So Greg, in 2009, you had a stroke, didn't you?
I did.
At 29, age 29.
Yep.
You were watching Iron Man 2. It must have been shit.
I never want to see that movie again.
It was okay. It was okay. Yeah, you woke up that night, didn't you?
Yep.
And you couldn't move half your body. That must have been pretty scary.
That was terrifying. It was horrifying. Yeah, I called my mom the next morning. I was like 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. And I was like, Mom, something's wrong. And she's like, you drunk? I'm like, no, I'm not drunk. And she was like, you had a stroke. I'm like, I didn't have a stroke. I'm 29. Old people have strokes. And so I was like, I'm going to work. So I was in the shower getting ready to work. I came out of the shower, and all the EMTs were in my living room. And so they were like, whoa, big guy, you have too much to drink. And I was like, nah, man, I didn't drink anything. I'm something's wrong. They're like, okay, we'll call us back when you're sober. I couldn't talk. And so I wrote on a piece of paper. I was like, please help. And I scribbled. I couldn't write either, really. So I kind of scribbled, please help. And I knew I was serious. So they put me on the back of the ambulance and had me get dressed too. So I completely butt-ass naked. Had to put clothes on me, put on underwear, and it was awful. Anyway, so we get on the ambulance. We got on the ambulance, and I'm like, "Can I sit up?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, you can sit up." So I'm sitting up, and like, we're just gonna do some tests. So they check my blood pressure, and it was like 400 over like 300. That was insane. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
It was like the guy's like, "You can lay down right now, really slowly." He's like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel fine." I mean, how my body doesn't work, but yeah. So we went there, and brain aneurysm, massive stroke, and yeah, that started a whole new chapter for me.
Yeah, and they never got to the bottom of that, eh? Like, what caused that?
No, there's theories. I have really thick blood, just genetically really thick blood, and so I've been in 20 million fights, head wounds. I've had like probably 100 concussions. My skull split open more times than I can count, and so they think that probably had something to do with it. Or, maybe a combination of the two. And of course, I was on steroids. I'm not gonna lie, I was, but I wasn't taking much. I'm not the kind of guy who took like huge amounts. And that's why I'm still doing it today. I always took the baseline, and so I was on like maybe 300 milligrams a test or something like that at that point. Like I wasn't near a competition. I was kind of messing around at that point. So yeah, it was a weird incident for sure.
That's crazy.
No real idea what caused it. I go every year and do tests and stuff, and I'm always fine. So
yeah. So you had to go rehab, learn how to speak, speech therapy.
Yeah, we learned how to talk and walk and write and all that shit. And I ended up moving to Florida because I was like, my mother was living in Florida, and she was like, "You can come here and just live with us for the rehab part. We're a really good place right down the street. And so I went and lived there in Florida with her for about probably 6 months, maybe. It was a long time. And my girlfriend quit her job and came with me. And yeah, I was just, I was going to rehab like twice a day, in the pool as much as possible, just trying. And then one day it sort of went away. I kind of woke up in the morning and I was okay. It was weird. It's like, I woke up and it was like, it's gone, And so I went there and everybody's like, that's not how it works. I'm like, I don't know. And so we went back and they had this test where you put pegs in little holes, little tiny wooden pegs in holes. And the first time it took me like 18 minutes to do it. The second time it was like 8 seconds. It was like insane. It was like 30 seconds. It was less than 30 seconds. But it was like, yeah, he's better. I don't know. It sucked.
That's some scary shit.
But then after that, like my hand strength took a long time to come back. And so I assumed I was done. So for a few years I was trying to just like, be normal, have normal jobs, and it sucked. So I came here and get back into it.
Nice. And so you pretty much got straight back into the gym after your recovery, eh? And
yeah. As soon as they let me, I went right back. Yeah.
The motor patterns were they were ingrained, eh? So it didn't take you too long to get back to some semblance.
I bench over 500 pounds the first day I came back. I was okay. I was still good. And
I've never
I lost a lot of
weight
weight
too.
I probably lost 25 pounds. I was doing cardio. That's all I could do. I wanted something to do, so they let me do water aerobics, pool, aerobics in the pool with a bunch of old people. So it was great.
You hit rock bottom there.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like the difference between that and like Westside, like Greg sitting in the pool, like yelling at all these old people, like trying to assert his dominance in the aqua aerobics class.
None of that's on YouTube, eh?
Yeah.
No, thank God.
So you mentioned getting into a few fights. So obviously that was back in your younger years at Westside. Yeah, both inside the gym and outside the gym too, eh?
Honestly, I got one fight I think at Westside inside the gym. It was my fault. I was tearing somebody's hair off their back when I turned around and he punched me in the face. But that was it. That was the only fight. Mostly the fights. I was a bouncer. I would bounce in clubs and bars, and I would go to the ones where nobody else wanted to go to because I thought it was fun. And so I bounced in these clubs where there's fights like every 20 minutes, somebody's fighting and shooting each other. And so I kind of liked that adrenaline rush from those places. So I try to find jobs there. And a lot of times I hit in the fan and stuff, pull cues in the back of the head. I tire iron once. I got thrown off some stairs once. So, but it shakes out of me. Like if you get your shakes out of you like 4 or 5 times a week, then it stops being a big deal. That's my thought process was. This will make me tougher. And it did.
It's like training. You sort of adapt.
Yeah.
Right, you adapt to it. Right.
Yeah. Specificity, eh?
Adapt to get punched in the face. Then.
Fuck.
So I heard a story. You tell a story once about you had an AK-47 in your face too, eh? At one point.
Oh yeah. A couple times actually. It was a couple times in Ohio.
What did you do to deserve
that? Twice. One time I had a shotgun. I had some kind of machine gun. I don't know what it was. Then I had an AK-47. A couple of handguns in the head. A few times. Yeah, a few scary times. We were at Waffle House at the end. You ever been to Waffle House?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were at Waffle House. And I was talking to my buddy. We actually just been at Westside, an hour before that. We trained at Westside at night. Him and I did something that day. We had to do something for work. We had to work that day. So we missed training. So we went that night at 10 o'clock. And him and I trained and we went to Waffle House after. We started eating. And he goes, "Oh, shit, hold up." And I thought he was saying, hold up. And I'm like, what? And all of a sudden I feel like something like this. And I look up and he was got an AK-47. Fuck.
Shit, they wouldn't have been able to get much from you guys, huh? What did they take? Did they take anything from you? Well, they just wrong place, wrong time.
They were good though. They were they came in. They were pros. They were very calm. They weren't yelling or screaming. Like they knew what they were doing. So I felt okay. I wasn't really worried. So they put us on the floor. My buddy kept reaching up and grabbing his waffle off the table. And he was like, "Just fucking take it, man. Just take it."
Put it under the table with you.
Okay. Yeah, he's like, just take the fucking thing.
What the hell would they expect to find at a Waffle House? Was it actually a Waffle House or was it a front for something else?
But you know why? It was a safe drop night. So they had like $7,000 in the safe. So they hit all the Waffle Houses on safe drop nights. That was like 8th and 9th one. Yeah.
Because people, you Americans love their waffles, eh?
Yeah, you love their waffles.
Oh yeah, those waffle.
The butter, it's about the butter.
Killing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I love that place. It's so gross, but I love it.
So that was, this is Columbus, so it's quite a rough town. There's different parts of it, eh? Because
there's definitely rough parts, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And you
I lived in a place called Machine Gun Alley for a while. That was fun.
Machine Gun Alley.
A lot of shooting going on there. Yeah, I was in scary parts of Ohio.
It's not the Wild West, eh? Jeez.
Yeah, it was too. There's some bad parts for sure.
What happened?
But a lot of beautiful parts too. I love Columbus. It's my favorite city. It's a beautiful city.
You've been back? Have you been back recently?
Not recently, but I want to. It's just such a long trip. It's the kind of trip you can drive to, but you don't want to, but you don't really want to pay for a flight. You know what I mean? So it's like.
You tell a story about going to. If Westside was bad, then there's a place called the Bottoms. Is that what it's called?
The Bottoms, yeah.
Yeah, what's the story?
That's where Westside is. The west side of Columbus is separated by the hilltop and the bottoms.
Yeah,
and they're both really shitty. the bottoms I thought was worse. I get jumped in the bottoms. I get a shit kicked out of me in the bottoms by like 12 guys. So the bottoms always has a special place in my heart. Get my skull split open and eyes roll. I get beaten up so bad. There were like 12 guys outside of my car. I got left on the side of the freeway once. Separate time. I get beat up really bad and I left on the freeway. Then I woke up on the side of the freeway. I was like covered in blood. I couldn't open my eyes. That happened there too. Same bar, I think, actually. Or maybe the one across the street. It was the same place.
But it goes back for more.
Everybody's like, the same guys. I'm like, I don't know. I never saw him. Get the back held a gun.
And that was an errand day that Louis had sent you on. That one time with the
Which
bottoms.
time?
the bottom. He sent you to get some test or something like that.
Oh, the test, yeah.
Yeah, and you got the bottle of sus with the dog hair in it.
Yeah. I tell the story on live. Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh man, yeah. It was like, so you roll up this house. It's like, so one a fence on each side, like a walkway through the yard. There's like 50 pit bulls in there all crawling. And she was 50. I walked up back. I'm not walking through the fucking yard. So I walked up back. I knocked on the door. And this woman answers. And she's got her bra on, her pants just sagging. She's drinking a beer. It's like 10 in the morning. Like full of kids. Man. I'm like, I'm looking for, I can't remember the guy's name, but I'm looking for so-and-so. And she starts yelling his name. He comes downstairs. He's big, huge. He's got a gun in his waistband. He's like, what you need, man? I'm like, steroids? He's like, oh, he wants some pills? I'm like, nope, just steroids. Just steroids, man. And so, yeah, he got them given me. And man, those shots fucked me up. That's what I used through my first nationals. And every time I take a shot, my ass would swell up like this big. Right, it was awful. But I didn't want to say anything to Louis because I didn't know him that well. I would be like, can you get me more of this stuff? Sucks. So finally, after the comp, I told him, he's like, just come to my house and get it. I'm like, I probably shouldn't say that, but you know, he's like, I'm like, why did I have to go there? Like, why would you send me there?
Because you just know that guy's like made it in the bathtub upstairs, like
right, exactly.
He's probably just scooped it in as you've got to the door, you know, like
right, exactly, which he probably did. It was open too. It was open.
Oh God, that's so bad, man.
I was like, just want to get out of here. I don't care. Kids were all screaming. This dog is crawling at me. You know, there's drugs everywhere and guns. I just want to get out of here. I don't care. Just give me whatever you have.
Shit. Let's go back to your lifting, some Greg. So you got the world record. Was it in 2006? Was it?
Maybe sounds right. 2007.
Got a 1,000 pound. That was your first 1,000 pound squat. 2006, give or take, eh?
Yep.
685 bench, and an 800 pound deadlift. Eh? That's crazy, eh? For a lot of our listeners, we obviously a lot of our listeners, Jackson, have come on board in recent years where Raw has dominated, but there was a whole era. There was a massive era, the original days for powerlifting anyway, which was, geared lifting, single ply, multi-ply, and some of the numbers, they don't get shared a lot these days unless you follow powerlifting quite closely, eh? But we're talking 300 plus, 600, 700 pound bench presses, which is you won't see that in Raw, not yet anyway. But obviously the numbers are going up. So, what was that like, Greg? Everybody in Westside was training equipped, eh?
Yeah, it was all we knew. It's not. People were always like, "Man, you should have gone Raw." I didn't have a choice. I didn't know Raw wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? So it just was what it was. But those guys were as strong as they made us today. Raw, absolutely. The stuff you'd see there was insane. Yeah, just the benches were insane. The raw benches you see there, and the deadlifts, the squats, it was crazy. Everything was incredibly strong. The top 5 guys would be top 5, 10 in the world raw. Absolutely, no question. Had they taken the time to learn how to do it, absolutely. Yeah,
because there's definitely a carryover, isn't there? From
absolutely. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I don't think people realize today is you got to be really fucking strong to be really good in gear. The guys who are really good in gear are very strong. No way around it.
Yeah. It's still, like you say, like 1,000 pounds, like 450 kilos on your back.
Right,
like,
right.
The suit isn't like lifting it for you. Like, you see those
it's not at all.
People say it, they still think it does. Like you see those videos, and people are just like dropping bars on the bench shirts and the squat suits or on like a vial of test. And they're like, oh, it didn't lift it. Oh shit. But people actually think that the suit is like a forklift.
Yeah, I had a kid the other day say, I want to try on a bench shirt. I'm like, you don't just try on a bench shirt. People think it just works. You put it on and it works. No, you got 5 years you're going to take to learn how to use that thing, It's not just going to work for you. And it's even at that, even 5, 10 years into it, for me, it was still a struggle, It's equipment it's incredibly hard. I don't think people understand how hard it is.
Have you looked at a suit since? Nothing. No.
I did what I came to do. You know what I mean? I left it behind in Ohio. I'm good. I don't dislike it. I just don't really. I went a lot further than I thought I was ever going to, and with that, I was happy. And as soon as I left, as soon as I started lifting again, like Raw just took over. I started watching Dan Green, and watching him was like, I was excited as I was watching him as I was watching the Westside guys back in the day. So at that point it was just Raw. And still today I don't watch the multi-ply stuff ever. I don't even know who's good. I have no idea what's going on.
We were having this conversation yesterday, Jackson, about whether or not geared lifting will survive. Is there still a place for equipped lifting? What do you think, Greg? Do you think it will survive? And we were looking at some of the numbers yesterday.
I do. I don't think it'll ever be as big again. But yeah, I think it will survive in some respect. I mean, there's still a lot of kids doing it. Where I live up here, there's a large amount of kids, 15, 16, 17, 18, up into their mid-20s still doing it. So yeah, I think it will, at least on a smaller scale, it will. Yeah. I think the gyms, the multi-ply gyms that are open now will stick around for a while anyway. Do I think it's as impressive? No. But do I think we should have the choice to do it? Yeah, absolutely. I think that people need to understand the difference between the sports before they start, saying things about it like they do. Yeah. But yeah, I think it'll survive. I hope so.
The crazy thing is when I was doing geared lifting, the comps were both raw and equipped.
Yeah.
So of course, fucking hell, you'd come along and you'd bench 200 kilos more than anyone else. So of course you fucking win.
I suppose back in the day, like it was solely who can lift. Like, can I lift the most? How am I going to lift the most? Yeah. This shirt or the suit or whatever is going to help me lift more. So it's more weight on the bar. So you didn't bother to quantify if it was raw or equipped. Would you?
Right, exactly. It never really mattered to us. Like I didn't care at all how much I squat raw. It never factored in my thinking. I never thought about it. And for me, I was there for one reason. It was to win. I just wanted to win. I had to win. And so, no, we never really talked about it much. Nobody really ever cared. I guess raw benching to a point, but not really.
Nah. Because, then what happens on the day when you're at comp, if someone's got a 600-pound raw bench and they can only bench 750 in a shirt, but you can bench 500 raw and you can bench 800 in a shirt, fuck it, you win. You don't care.
Exactly.
So it probably, I suppose it didn't really factor in back then. Whereas these days, people are like, well, I can do this. Raw is just the thing these days, it seems.
Right, exactly.
But do you think, I don't know, it's one of those things, man, like, I appreciate raw and multi-ply, different sports, etc. Yep. But multi-ply aren't really doing themselves any favors in terms of like lifting quality, which then just further
it's getting worse too.
Yeah, which then further pushes them off nearer to the edge.
Absolutely.
Do they need to sort that out? Really, you reckon?
I think absolutely do, but I don't think they're going to. Because the problem is that these raw guys now's numbers are pushing the geared numbers, and so I think honestly they think that when they're going to survive is by doing crazy shit like that, and allowing it to pass. I guess I don't know. I don't think it really matters, honestly. Though, if they do or don't, I think people who don't like it aren't going to like it anyway. Yeah. And so they could. It would make sense, of course, on all levels, but. Would it really matter? I don't think so.
I suppose, like, I don't know. It's one of those ones where, like, say when, like, Andy Bolton first squatted, like, 550. So what's that? 1,200 pounds. I think he was the first. And then when he first deadlifted that 1,000 pounds, and say like Donnie Thompson, when those guys were squatting, like, there was no questions.
No, yeah, right, exactly.
So then
this is crazy. Yeah, you're right. But the problem is for that, the Andy Boltons or today would be going to Raw. The best lifters in the world are going to Raw now, no question. I mean, there's no way to even argue that. So, what I'm saying, like the guys who are really genetically good, Donnie Thompson, Andy Bolton, would be going Raw. They wouldn't be going to multi-ply now.
Yeah. Would you, so say you started powerlifting now, you would go raw?
Oh, hell yeah, no question. No question.
Yeah. Because, you come under that genetic elite. You totaled 2630 at under 242. Like, that's under 110. That's ludicrous. And like you say, you were benching, what did you say you were benching? Like 400 pounds at like 14, 15?
16.
16.
Yeah, 16. Yep.
That's ridiculous. That blows my mind.
But Greg, you've competed Raw, right? You competed Raw since 2013. I'm just looking at the results now.
Yep.
And you've kept going. Like your last comp was what, 2018? A couple of 2-3 years ago.
Probably. I do one after my quad here. I should do one again. It's just coaching now. I have so many athletes now. It's tough to think about anything else. You know what I mean? I find I get the same feeling from watching my guys do it as I do watching myself. You know. And I never want to coach. Like the last in the world I ever want to do is coach. I want to be 25 for break records, but obviously it doesn't happen. So it seems like the second best thing to do. And it has been. It's been great.
But Team Panora's got what I think you were saying in another podcast, 700 members, eh?
More like 1,000 now.
Fuck, 1,000.
Yeah, we kill. I have people write me every day that like. We have an online team page on Facebook, and we have a lot of people in there. I'll have 5-10 people write me a day that aren't on the page. I'm like, why did you ask on the page? Like, what's the page? I'm like, the team page. I never heard of the team page. Like, how long have you been on the team for? 10 months? Like, what?
Shit.
Yeah.
So tell us about Team Panora. Hey, what's the story? Like, what happens? What happens in Team Panora?
So yeah, we're huge. We're doing so. I want to do coaching like on a small scale, like local lifters and stuff like that. And so I was doing it for a long time. And this guy named Dave Pelletier, a big businessman in town, knows only a couple of gyms in his life. So I started training him, and he was like, "I just don't want to hurt anymore." And I was like, "Okay," but I want to get strong. And so within 6 months, 8 months, he was hitting numbers you want to hit in college. Not an incredible lifter, like a 250 bench maybe, but he was so excited about it because he's like, I'm not hurt all the time. I was doing CrossFit before. I was hurt all the time. I'm doing the things I want. I look better, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you got to take this thing online. And I was like, And so he found this website called Train Heroic. And he's like, do these guys. I looked at it like, it's for CrossFit. He's like, no, man, I'm telling you, this is the place to do it. This place makes a little money. I was like, all right. So I hit him up, and we started out. And within like a day, I had like 100 people on the team. It was crazy. Okay. And it just kept growing. And originally, the original idea was to push it towards like old people. Not old people, but 50, 60 years old. They just want to be strong, And then that's not what happened at all. Every badass in the Northeast signed up for my team, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna take this thing in another direction. We're bringing this back to the old school. So yeah, it's been amazing. We have every continent except for Antarctica represented on the team. So many different countries where I've never been. It's crazy. Almost every state in the U.S. It was pretty cool. Been amazing.
What country haven't you got? Did you say Africa?
Antarctica.
No, we have Africa. Antarctica.
Oh, Antarctica.
Yeah, we have Africa. Yeah.
Those guys left. I'm sure they do.
There must be someone down there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna hit somebody up that's working there and be like, "Can you put a shirt on? Put the shirt on. Can you take a picture?" I actually found a girl whose cousin is working there.
That's crazy, eh? So okay, so you got a website, you got coaching services, you've got forums, you got the whole lot, eh? So I guess you probably don't get a time to talk to every single person on there as well, eh? But I try
my best, honestly. I do my best. If you engage me, I'll engage you back. You know what I mean? So obviously you're gonna have I don't want to say your favorites, but the people you have that work the hardest for your attention, and those people will always the most, I tell people when they first come on, this is not an equal opportunity team. Like, you earn a respect here. You need to get a hold of me. I'm not going to try to get a hold of you. There's so many people I don't even worry about. But if you want me to help you, ask me and I'll help you. And it's worked. It's been fine. I mean, I spend probably 10 hours a day on this stupid thing, watching squat videos and watch the same video over and over 100 times. It's like, oh my God. But I can coach without like half watching now. I don't even do I can turn around here and watch TV and coach, I share like 500 videos a day. It's insane.
Fuck, that's crazy.
All
so
I do all day is watch videos.
Your whole life,
so
is
what I've done, I think is kind of cool, is that I went and worked at a CrossFit for a long time. So I worked at a CrossFit for like 7 years. What I went there to learn how to do was to put together a thing where everybody's doing the same thing and everybody's benefiting from it. So I watched how that went. Then I stole how they do CrossFit and did with powerlifting. Everybody has the same routine, same warm up, same program. There's the same technique. And guess what? It works every time. So it's been great. It's been amazing. We have most the same people who signed up are still on the team. I've been doing it 4 years now since day one. Patrick, my first lifter, squatted 955 today. I mean, we're doing some big things.
That's awesome, mate. So you've applied the principles that have made CrossFit successful, applied them to powerlifting, and
exactly.
And it's fucking worked
I saw that
out.
thing, and I was like, this is I don't love CrossFit. Like, the whole thing's kind of stupid, but like the way they do that is amazing. It's just like this is just such a huge business opportunity here that nobody's capitalizing on.
Yeah.
So I wrote a methodology. I spent about 7 years working on a methodology. Putting out this programming and how this stuff was going to work. And then I did it, and it was like it just worked. Like it just worked.
That's cool. That's
cool.
It's
been amazing.
CrossFit's been a real benefit to powerlifting. Obviously, a lot of people have done CrossFit, then have gone, actually, I kind of like some bits, but I don't like these bits. Powerlifting appeals to me more, and it's been that movement. I saw someone almost attribute raw powerlifting, the movement,
100%
to CrossFit.
I agree, 100%.
I've heard that a few times now. Yeah,
100%. Yep.
Because it gets people just lifting. Before that, people weren't lifting. You want to lose weight, people just went to the gym and walked on the fucking treadmill.
Yep.
Yeah,
CrossFit made it cool. Like, it was the first time in my life where it was cool to be strong. Nobody ever really cared until recently, and now it's like, it's such a big thing. I'm like, it's like, where was this when I was 25,
Yeah, damn, I would have loved this.
Yeah, right.
Right. How much of the sorry, Jackson, go ahead, man.
Oh, I was just gonna so obviously CrossFit's helped raw lifting come about, and especially female lifting, I would say, because that's just taken off since girls have found it cool to lift weight, instead of just fucking shaker weights and whatever. But then also now with more money coming into powerlifting, etc., and more exposure on the chance to build like say for you make your entire living off powerlifting basically. So with the chance for more actual like financial gain and more of a lifestyle in powerlifting, do you think we'll see more of those people, like you were saying about how that guy when you were at school went into the Marines, etc.? Do you think we'll see more of that like genetic elite come across into powerlifting?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we see it now. I go through Instagram and I'll see people I've never heard of, squatting 900 pounds. Create this all the time. You know what I mean? And I keep my eye out, like pretty. It's not like I don't look up who's good and who's not. But we're seeing like these middle of the road lifters that are as strong as the top guys were 10, 15 years ago. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think we'll keep seeing it getting bigger and bigger. How big? I have no idea. I have no idea.
I mean, that's the scary part, because back obviously like all the big strong guys in the States sort of go to like NFL or
right,
etc.
Well, they got where the money's at, yeah,
that's what I mean. Whereas now, actually I can lift weights, get a following on Instagram, make a living. I can actually be good, and then they go and do powerlifting.
Right.
I mean, I think there's that guy. I don't know if you've seen him on Instagram, Megatron.
I don't know.
Jesus, he did like his second meet, he totaled like 1050 in kilos, which is like 2,300 pounds, like raw in sleeves. His second fucking meet.
Crazy.
Like, what are these people doing? You know what I mean? Whereas that's a guy who would have gone and been like a linebacker in an NFL team somewhere, but now he's coming to powerlifting instead.
Right, it's crazy. It happens. It does happen.
Yeah. So I don't know where the limit is. Where's the top?
I don't think we've seen it yet. I don't know. I don't think we've seen it.
We had Dan on last week, and he's going for that 1,200. He just broke 2,600 pounds raw.
Yeah.
And he's going for 1,200 kilos, which is like 2,640 or something. Is it 2,640, Greg? Check my maths there. 2,650.
2,640. Nice.
2,640. Bang on. How good?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Not just a stupid powerlifter.
Mate, I'm more than just a pretty face, all right? But like that 10 years or even 5 years ago, that was ludicrous. Everyone was like, "Nah, we'll never see that." So it keeps
so
coming.
Crazy.
What?
Like
we'll
what? Somebody beat that numbers at some point.
It must have helped when you were training for those big numbers, training around guys obviously social media wasn't really a thing back then.
No, it wasn't.
So you didn't get exposed to these big numbers.
Right.
Like the lifters these days. So all of you guys.
Well, we were doing all the big numbers. So
yeah. So
Mm.
you saw it in person. Was it like almost a competition each day? Almost.
Always competition. Yes, always.
Yeah.
Every day. Yep.
Every movement.
Every movement, every day, every second you're in there. Yep, always.
Yeah, because you could get challenged.
Too.
Yeah, you could get challenged at any point, and you couldn't back down.
You have to do it. If you don't do it, you have to
no,
run out.
fucking good mornings or whatever, you had to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you were kicked
The best
out.
one I ever did was Luke. AJ Roberts and I. AJ Roberts wanted to have a good morning contest, except we were using just bands, no weight. So we went to like 700-800 pounds of bands. It was horrendous. I won. I beat him, but I remember the last one I went down, and it felt like my spine was going to pull it back. It was so awful.
That's
You couldn't
disgusting.
brace. You try to brace, and it'll all come out because you try to stay upright, you know. So he stopped. He's like, "I'm good." I'm like, "I got to do it." So he's like, "No, man." He's like, "We just time." I'm like, "Nope."
I'm winning.
It was awful.
That's disgusting. I remember seeing a post where, because you were probably one of the few guys pulling over 800 back then.
Yeah.
And so like Louis would come and get you and be like, "Hey Greg, we've got some guy over here who reckons he can pull 800 pounds."
Yep.
On like his first day, and then like, did you do like head-to-heads with them to see if they were allowed to stay, or?
All the time, yeah, all the time.
That's hilarious.
You try to make it uncomfortable, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's hilarious. So like, would you often get there? Like, did you win those? I assume.
I always won everything.
Yeah.
What a beast. Did it matter that you'd done deadlifts that day or the day before?
I mean, no, honestly, I recover so fast. Even today at 40, like I recovered just very quickly for whatever reason. And so, you know, it's one of the things that I was able. I could honestly probably max out every day and PR for a time anyway. You know, like I have the kind of brain that allows me to do that. So no, when I call it compete, like I'm on, I'm there. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care if I did this the last 3 days in a row. I'm gonna come back and beat you this day too. This is how, especially when I was younger too. You know, it's like that's just how my brain works. So no, not really. I never minded.
I wonder if that's missing these days, is that mentality that, with just that knowledge that we can actually work a lot harder than we think we can.
Yeah.
You know, at the moment, people think, okay, I've deadlifted. You can only deadlift once every 10 days. You know, you see that kind of stuff on the social media as well, and then you know, then you got people like Greg.
Very, yes, we become very, you know, rules are important. I have a million of them for my team, and you know, rules like that. But at the same time, if you want to hit those top levels, you have to do some crazy shit. You know, it's the only way to do it. You know, like it's just gonna have to. You have to overcome fear, and to do that, you know, sometimes you just gotta do crazy shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of missing out.
What's that?
I was gonna say, Jackson. Yeah, what kind of crazy shit do you guys do?
I definitely feel like that's missing. Like, but then also I think it comes from a lot of what's happening now. I mean, like we'll have some guys come into the gym and they've literally just come in to start powerlifting training, and they go straight on to a program that's they're squatting 3 times a week, benching 4 times a week, and deadlifting twice. And I'm like, sick. So when do you do like some fucking pull-ups or some stiff legs or some, whatever, some fucking bicep curls? Like, no, that's not in there. And then they end up looking like a twig for forever, because they don't eat, they don't train, like, you know, accessories and stuff. Whereas, like Greg, you were saying, you already were jacked by the time you trained like that.
Yeah, yep. I've been training I trained for 7 years before I did a comp. And when I went into my first comp, I was the strongest guy in the room, you know. So I won best lifter. I didn't know what it meant, but you know, so like I wanted to make damn sure when I started this thing, I was starting out right. Like I was just walking into this thing like half-assed, like I was going into it hard. And I did, you know, always. And I won pretty much everything even before I went to Westside. Like I won best lifter in pretty much every comp I ever did. Until even after Westside too. So really what I was doing before Westside was, you know, creating this mindset, these habits, you know, that I would carry on there on a much bigger platform. But I started to establish that if I went to comps, I was going to win. And that's the way it went. Is I was going to win, and I had it in my brain as I walked through those doors, I was going to win. And I do that nowhere else in real life, only in powerlifting comps.
Yeah.
But I had, I knew when I walked through those doors, I was going to win. And so, all I did when I was at Westside was the same thing that worked for me here.
Nice.
I mean, the people, don't push themselves as hard as that. They don't have that mindset anymore, though. But everyone's a bit soft these days. I mean, people might say that about me as well. They're more than welcome to. But I mean,
the generation before was saying that about me.
Every generation is softer than the last. So it is what it is. But I mean, we do some crazy shit like that as well. Like, depending on what phase of training is. I mean, one of my favorites is, I don't know if you guys have ever done pound stone curls. So you basically just get it's from Derek Poundstone. Yeah. And you basically just grab a 20-kilo bar and just do curls until you can't. Dude, it sucks. It sucks. My best is like 164 or something, 163, 164.
Fuck, in terms of reps.
Yeah, you just keep going. It's fucked. Try it. Yeah, try it. It's disgusting.
I'll try.
Yeah, it's like, but it's the same thing. You just have to do some crazy shit occasionally. I mean, our training crew down here. I mean, we actually like each other, so it's not quite like Westside, but we'll push each other. I mean, but we are sort of a bit more conservative, I guess. I mean, we don't really train conjugates, so we're not maxing out all the time or anything. It's linear. It's not sexy. It's just, you start
which is
here.
Smart, which is absolutely the smart way to train. Really the only way to train back by science, by real science. So, my team does the same thing, and conservative is always good. Once you last a long time, long-term progress is the key to this whole thing, is that we're doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. And then we can actually put some numbers together and make stuff happen. But I'm talking about if you want to be on the top level, like the top tier, it's that kind of training. I mean, it'll work, of course, but you might have to do something a little more than that, in terms of whatever, just to get there, get your brain right. Really what the top guys on the planet are doing, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of planning to the training. You know what I mean? He's coming in doing 3s, 2s, or 1s, working heavy. It seems to be what they're doing. But again, they're made to do that. And most of the guys at the top don't last very long anymore. They're not in a sport in 3 years, which kind of sucks. So if there was more of that, more people training that way, I think we'd probably get a lot further.
Yeah. I mean, you talk a lot about, I mean, your Instagram is one of my favorite Instagrams, just from the shit that you like you say, people are soft, you don't care who you offend. And so people are very, very soft, but then some of your quotes are hilarious. I should have prepped one beforehand, but
I've heard it's quoted as memes without the memes.
It is, but it's a meme of how people react to it.
Right.
Because everyone's saying about everyone's got the same, everyone struggles. Don't fucking try and act like your struggles aren't, that sort of stuff. Just straight to the point advice, which is nice. I related really well to one the other day that said, the meat doesn't really start until you miss your deadlift opener. Yeah. And that.
And that's how every great meet I've ever had started. And this my first time was oh fuck, now it starts. But I was always bump it up 50 pounds.
Yeah, put it up and then go again.
Put another 50 pounds and do it. Yeah. I don't know why it became a thing we do at meets, not on purpose, but almost on purpose. Yeah.
I missed at one meet at Worlds in 2016. I missed my opener and my second.
Oh shit!
And it came down to the third deadlift where I was almost bombing, and I managed to. I swear some Eastern European guy put some talc in the fucking baby powder or something, okay? Because I just couldn't hold anything, and my hands were. And so I managed to hold my third and get a total, but fuck. That's the. Oh, you say that's the most exciting meet I've ever done, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's fun. I love competing like that. That's my favorite way to do it.
And one of the other ones, actually, I just scrolled onto it then about nutrition. Fat don't care, carbs don't care, protein 50 grams. You know, that's such a powerlifting mentality.
It is. It's great.
That's legit. I look at food like that. You know.
Yeah. I love that.
That's all I care about, right?
I love that shit.
So I know for Team Panora, you do you have like a nutritionist.
Yep.
And a physical therapist.
Yep. Dwayne Kyoto. Yep. He was a friend of mine. I actually met him at the CrossFit I worked at. He moved back to Oregon, and so we didn't talk for about a year. Then one day he got a hold of me and was like, "Hey, I want to do your training." I was like, "How about you be our PT?" He's like, "Okay." I'm like, "I'll pay you." He's like, "No, it's good, man." He's like, "I'll just I'll use it on my resume, so it'll help me, get jobs." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So yeah, he's brilliant. He's really smart. Lifelong athlete, powerlifts now, did CrossFit forever. So yeah, two awesome people on my team.
That's some good shit. I like Greg, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like you've taken the best of Westside, the best of CrossFit, and
exactly what I tried to do. Yep, yeah, exactly what I did.
Yeah, that's fucking genius. That's a good plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to do the same, Jackson.
Yeah, and not scared to outsource when it's not your expertise as well. Like you said,
I mean, I don't want to learn about nutrition. I don't want to learn about injuries. I don't care. So I'll hire somebody to do it for me. What I do care about is movement. I care about mentality. I care about, I care about a lot of things. It's not like I don't care, but there's certain things that I don't want to do, but other people can do it for me, and I'll pay them. Like Jay Ashman, charges for his services. He does really well on my team. He's probably 30 or 40 people on my team he's coaching now. So, I mean, it works out for both of us.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
That's meant. Yeah, I mean, I do something similar. Like some people, I'll give them ideas on diet, but I usually send them to someone else because I'm like, I don't care. Just go and do that.
Right, exactly.
I want to be in charge of your stuff you do in the gym. I don't want to have to ask you every time we're training, hey, have you stuck to your diet? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, neither have I, so it's fine.
Join the club.
Right, exactly. I just no.
So Greg, what's life like now? You've got a young baby on the scene now as well.
Yep, I have a 3-year-old daughter. Yep.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's so cute.
So that's a big difference, from your past life anyway. Yeah.
Yep. That was the first year of her life was the worst year of training and competing I've ever had. I lost like 50 pounds on my bench in 4 months. I didn't sleep. It was misery.
Yeah,
but
that's some.
At that point, I sort of said I made a lot of changes in my life and myself. Being a dad is number one priority. Her obviously my number one priority. Could have done it when I was 25, 26, 27. I'm not so sure if I would have done it well. So I'm glad it happened. Later in my 30s to. So I could actually be a good dad, and she's amazing, and it's awesome, best thing ever. I'll take that over being a powerlifter any day of the week.
100%, man. That's cool. Yeah, kids will definitely do that to you as well. And people who want to sign up to Greg Panora over here or listen to the podcast, how do they go about that, man?
Get a hold of me, Big Papi Panora on Instagram, BigPapi Panora on Instagram. Greg Panora on Facebook. You can find me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Big shout outs. We'll do shout outs, Jackson, on the podcast as well, on the bios. But hey, what a thank you, Greg, for coming on, man. It's been fucking blast. You've had some cool stories.
Yes.
Any other shout outs before we go?
For me?
Yeah, any other shout outs?
Yeah, shameless
shout out
plugs.
Bell, 2,600 pounds. Shout out Westside Barbell. Shout out my girlfriend Sydney. Shout out Scott, the owner of the gym I work at. That's about it.
That's some cool shit, man.
Nice. That's it. Yeah, get those shameless plugs in, man. That's what we're about.
Exactly. I don't think it needs to know, but 1,000 people on Team Panora. Awesome, Greg, man. You've been a legend. Awesome guest. Take it easy. We'll catch up later.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Catch you later.
Thanks, sir.
Later, man.